What's going on, guys? Graham, Jason Matthews here with BleachReport.com and FanSided Daily DDT, and ahead of WWE NXT WarGames this Sunday on Peacock and the WWE Network on December 5th. We're talking to one of the men in the Men WarGames match itself, Bron Breakker, one of the new faces of NXT 2.0. Bron, how you doing, my man?
I'm good, man. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. I mean, this is crazy, man. You just debuted on NXT TV less than 3 months ago from when we speak right now. And now you find yourself in the main event of WarGames this coming Sunday. Obviously a match that your family has a lot of history in. Talk about the feelings, what you're feeling going into this match on Sunday.
Man, I'm excited, man. I cannot wait to get in there and mix it up with these guys. It's a big fight field, man. It's gonna be crazy, man. It's gonna be hardcore. It's gonna be awesome.
How do you even go about preparing for a match like this?
I don't think you do, man. I think you just physically, I don't think you do. I think you just mentally, you got to dial it in. And you just gotta go to work, man.
And not to put the pressure on you, but again, this is the main event of the first real, major special of the NXT 2.0 era of the former, black and gold brand. You find yourself on Team 2.0. How have you been finding yourself dealing with the pressure of, wrestling the likes of Tommaso Ciampa, Johnny Gargano in a ladder match this past week, LA Knight, your first week on the show? How have you been finding yourself dealing with that pressure these last couple of months? I don't get overwhelmed by pressure. I'm just not the type of person. And then I got to give credit where credit's due. Okay, those names you just mentioned, LA Knight, Johnny Gargano, Tommaso, these guys they're fantastic. Okay, they're the leaders of NXT. They're the black and gold brand. They've been around a while. They're veterans. Every advantage that you think that they could have on their side, they've got it, with the exception of the advantage that I just won. But, like I said, I got to give credit where credit's due. Those guys are fantastic. They're the best wrestlers that we have in the locker room. I'm just excited for the opportunity to go and, fight them once more. And obviously, like you said, no better names to be sharing the ring with on a show like this than the guys, Johnny, Tommaso, like you just said. But to go back a bit, is this correct? You only started wrestling in October of 2020. Is that accurate?
October 2020.
Or just last year in general, I guess.
Yeah, October, November.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's crazy.
I didn't really start back then.
Okay.
I started with NXT, but I had really no prior experience at all. I watched stuff like YouTube, but I didn't really have I didn't know what I was doing.
That's wild. And at this point too, you're only 24 years old. Is that accurate?
Yes, sir.
Wow, that is crazy. So that being said, how do you find yourself now in NXT? Was this something you always kind of aspired to do? Obviously, you had the football career. Was it something you just kind of fell into? Obviously, you have the family history there, but kind of take me back to the journey that led you to NXT.
So I went to Kennesaw State, played college football there for 4 years as a running back, and then graduated there. I went to play for the Baltimore Ravens for a short time in 2020. And then when I was finished with football there, I wanted to wrestle since I was a kid. This is always what I've wanted to do. More than football, just more than anything. This is all I've ever wanted to do with my life, was just, continue on the family legacy. And, it's an unbelievable. It's still kind of just, sometimes it's surreal that I'm here. I'm with WWE, the greatest company in the world. You know what I mean? I'm getting to work for guys like Shawn Michaels and Triple H and Vince, and it's unbelievable.
Have you had any one person so far in your journey that you've really, not maybe attached to is the right word, but kind of learned from and kind of fallen under that learning tree, whether it be a Shawn or a Vince or a Triple H or anyone else backstage? Because there's a lot of veterans backstage at NXT.
Right. Man, I don't think I could name them all, to be honest. There's so many people willing to help me and us, for that matter. There's so many resources. There's an unbelievable amount of resources we have everything that you could possibly imagine at the Performance Center to make you successful and to make you be the best wrestler that you could possibly be. It's unbelievable the amount of access that we have to knowledge, to just skills, learning, just these minds that have been in the business for 20, 30 years, I mean, some even more than that. They have all this stuff that they can give to you and teach the younger generation coming along. And it's been unbelievable, and it's been super helpful. It's just crazy.
And you're coming into the crazy time too, not just, I mean, with NXT, which has been a major brand for years now, but with the NXT 2.0 branding. I mean, you were in the first match as part of the first premiere of NXT 2.0 against Knight, 3 months ago. There's been a lot of talk with the influence that Vince has on the show and whatever. Have you had any interaction with Vince so far in your time in NXT or not really?
I haven't, no.
Yeah. And going forward, I mean, into WarGames too, with the, this being the main event match, the biggest match on the show, and the women's WarGames match is going to be great as well. Just kind of talking about your journey. You debut as Bron Breakker on that first episode of NXT, and there were rumblings that you had a different name. Obviously, your name on Twitter is different than Bron Breakker. Can you talk about like the process there and getting the Bron Breakker name and how that kind of came about going in your debut on that show?
So, I mean, it kind of just came back. We were just sitting around one day, and I'm like, well, when I used to block people in football, I used to try to break them in half. Like that was literally what I tried to do, was snap people in half. Like I just try to break them. And I was like, oh, what if I was like the Breaker or something? Like I used to break people, Breaker. And I was like, it just kind of came to me. I was like, Bron, it's in my, it's like, part of my first name. And, that's kind of what we went with.
Yeah. So we've heard a lot of references to obviously your family history without actually saying the last name on TV, but all the nicknames and the math promos, that been kind of on your part, or is that on the writers or the people that have been doing it?
I think it's just I'm not really sure, to be honest, but I think that's what they've done before. My dad and uncle have done before me with some of their promos and stuff that they've done. They've put all this, they've laid all this groundwork, and they've, there's all this stuff that's out there for me to, if I want to use, it's there. Obviously, I'm not going to bank my entire, that's not what I'm going for. Yeah. Obviously, I want to make a name for myself, and I want to stand on my own. But, there's certain things out there we can use. A
lot of different references. The math promo specifically was great when Ciampa brought that back up a couple of weeks ago. That was fantastic. I know he had mentioned, I think in an interview a couple of weeks ago, going into Halloween Havoc when you had that great NXT title match with Tommaso. I think you had mentioned after the fact that your dad almost made an appearance, but I think it fell through at the last minute. Is that true? Was he supposed to be there or no?
Him and I, we talked about it, but I just didn't end up working out. I mean, he's busy, man. He's got, he's on the school board for Cherokee County, the county that we grew up in. And nice. He's a real estate agent. I mean, he's got a lot going on, so it's kind of tough to get him to, to make it down sometimes. He's just, like I said, he's just a busy guy. So, yeah.
You're still early on in your NXT run. Maybe there's always a chance at some point down the road that it happens.
Oh, yeah, he'll make it down for sure. He'll come down eventually, but
Yeah, maybe at some point down the road. But kind of on the subject of WCW alumni, I feel like with your background in football and what you've done so far, I feel like it would be difficult for a guy like Goldberg, for example, to not look at you and see money right away. I feel like you would be like the ultimate opponent for a guy like Goldberg. Have you had any interactions with him at all, or a conversation? I mean, obviously, I know it's a bit of a different world between main roster and NXT. Have you had any communication with him at all?
I have.
Nice.
I've known Goldberg for a while, since I was a kid, really. I mean, just because he was around, when I was growing up with WCW and stuff like that. So, Bill's been extremely helpful to me. We've had discussions about him just giving me just pointers and just advice and just things to help me, man. He's been unbelievable. So
that's awesome. Yeah, no, he's a great influence. That I mean, obviously he's done it all and he's been around a long time. So that's a great mentor to have in a way. And, you know, as well, in the last couple of months, I think it was just last month, you were on the UK tour for the WWE main roster, wrestling Ciampa for the NXT title. Talk about that a little bit. I mean, again, you've only been in NXT on TV for 2 months and you're already on the main roster UK tour, which is crazy. Talk to me a little bit about that.
It was unbelievable experience, man. I can't even describe, like, it was crazy. My first time performing in front of a big crowd, you know, because we're at the Performance Center right now with NXT. Yeah. We're not traveling. You know, that getting to learn, just work in front of a different crowd every night was just like crazy experience that I just haven't been exposed to yet. And the locker room, I mean, just a bunch of professional, just fantastic people. I can't say enough good things about the locker room on both brands. Were just extremely helpful. I mean, people like Sasha Banks, Charlotte Flair, Big E. I mean, Drew McIntyre, Sheamus, Riddick Moss, Rick Boogs. I mean, I could go on. Randy. Just everybody. I can't say enough good things about how polite, about how just stand-up people that they are. They're just excellent human beings. They took me in kind of as, you know, I'm a young cat. I've only been here for a little short time. And, you know, they kind of went that extra step and said, hey, you know, they took me under and gave some pointers and some advice. And, you know, it was unbelievable experience. I'm like, can't be thankful enough that I got to do that.
That's awesome. I feel like a lot of those same people that you mentioned are also mentioning you in other interviews as people, you know, as someone that they want to face at some point when you get to that point of whatever stage that might be. But I feel like you're in an interview every other week that people are mentioning you like, yeah, he's the future, which is cool. But kind of talking about that as we wind down here, I think I had seen somewhere that you may or may not have been involved as one of the zombies as part of the lumberjack match earlier this year, WrestleMania Backlash. Can you confirm that at all? Or if so, what's your experience with that?
Yeah, I was a zombie for I think it
was Priest and Miz, right?
Army, yeah. It was
Army of the Dead, yes.
Yeah, Army of the Dead. Yeah, man. What a fun time that was. Oh man, I'm trying to think. That was a few months ago. That was like when we were like brand new.
Yeah.
And we did that down at I think it was in Tampa or something like that, but it was so much fun.
And that was right before the return of live crowds, I think, dude. That was still in like the Thunderdome era of the company. So it feels like forever ago, but yeah, it was just a few short months ago. But no zombies on Sunday. We got NXT WarGames Team 2.0 versus Team Black and Gold. It's going to be a great match. Bron Breakker, you're leading the team. You're leading the charge right now on NXT 2.0. Very excited to see your success. Appreciate your time, man. It's been awesome.
Yeah, thank you. Absolutely. Thank you for having me, man.
Absolutely, dude. Have a great day. Great speaking with you.
You too.